There is a moment in Ramadan that many people do not talk about enough. It comes after the early excitement fades, after the first rush of motivation softens, after the body grows tired and the heart starts asking difficult questions in silence. You prayed, you tried, you wanted this Ramadan to be different, but now something feels heavy. Your chest feels tight. Your patience is shorter. Your home feels tense. You forget more. You delay prayer more. You speak harshly and then wonder, why am I like this while fasting? And the most painful part is not the exhaustion itself. It is the fear that comes with it. The fear that maybe something is wrong with your heart. The fear that maybe you are failing Ramadan. The fear that maybe you are too far. But listen carefully with your heart before anything else. You are not too far. You are not ruined. You are not abandoned. And with Allah, there is no such thing as I missed my chance, as long as you are still willing to return. Half of Ramadan has passed, yes, but with Allah, what matters is not only how you began, it is how sincerely you turn back now. Some people think that reaching the middle of Ramadan means the best days are already gone. They speak as if the gates are closing, as if mercy has already moved on, as if the race is over. But Allah does not deal with His servants the way we deal with deadlines and missed opportunities. He deals with hearts, with repentance, with sincerity, with the one who comes back after stumbling and says, "My Lord, I am here again." And every return to Allah writes light. Every honest step back toward Him matters. Every time you say, Astaghfirullah, with truth in your chest, every time you stand in prayer even while tired, every time you clean one corner of your life for His sake, it counts more than you imagine. The problem is that many people misunderstand what is happening to them in the middle of Ramadan. They assume the heaviness means hypocrisy. They assume the emotional drop means rejection. They assume the tension in the house means their worship is worthless. But often the issue is not that you no longer want goodness. Often the issue is that there are things around you, things inside your daily environment, things you kept ignoring, that quietly feed anxiety, drain discipline, and block the sweetness of worship from reaching your life. You may be reading Quran with your tongue while your surroundings keep pulling your heart downward. You may be making dua while the atmosphere of your home is working against peace. You may be asking Allah for calm while holding on to things that increase chaos every single day. Think about the way a human being responds to space. Have you ever walked into a clean, calm, orderly room and felt relief before anyone even spoke? And have you ever entered a place full of clutter, bad smells, neglected corners, and heavy energy, and felt your chest tighten for reasons you could not even explain? That is not imagination. The soul is affected by its environment. The mind is affected by repetition. The heart is shaped by what surrounds it. And in Ramadan especially, you need a space that helps you obey Allah, not one that constantly wears you down. Yes, the devils are restrained, but the nafs is still there. Old habits are still there. Emotional patterns are still there. If your home has things that disturb your inner state, Those things do not disappear just because it is Ramadan. This is why you need to ask yourself a difficult but beautiful question. Am I truly living Ramadan, or is Ramadan simply passing over me while I try not to collapse under it? And if my heart were a home, would tranquility feel welcome there? Because there is a hidden reason many people make dua yet feel little relief, seek forgiveness yet still feel inner disorder, pray yet still find the home full of tension. It is not because Allah does not hear them. Allah is near. Allah hears. Allah knows. Allah sees the tears, the fatigue, the shame, the effort, the part of you that still wants Him. But sometimes there are barriers, small barriers, practical barriers, neglected barriers, that stop the effect of worship from flowing into the rest of your life. So today the goal is not to frighten you, it is to comfort you. It is to open a small door that may carry a very big impact by the permission of Allah. Not through superstition, not through fear, not through exaggeration, through clear, practical, honest steps. There are 3 things that many homes need to remove, especially now, because their presence quietly increases stress, weakens discipline, and steals serenity. Remove them, and many people begin to notice a shift in their mental state, in their worship, and in the emotional climate of the house. Not because these actions are magic, but because Allah created life with causes, and He teaches us to take them seriously. Before naming those 3 things, hold on to this truth. Allah is close to you right now. Close when you are crying. Close when you are ashamed. Close when you are too tired to explain yourself. Ramadan is not a performance where you prove that you are always strong. Ramadan is a school of returning, a school of softening, a school of learning how to come back every time you fall. The path to Allah is not built on self-hatred. Yes, there is regret. Yes, there is accountability. Yes, there is repentance. But there is also hope, mercy, and the tenderness of a Lord who loves when His servant returns. So if you feel behind, do not say, "It is over for me." Say, "My Lord, help me come back with honesty." And one of the mercies of Allah is that sometimes external repair becomes the doorway to inner repair. When you clean your space, your nervous system softens. When you organize your life, your heart often becomes lighter. When you remove something harmful from your home, your dua sometimes feels less blocked. Not because worship was empty, but because the path became less crowded. Islam never taught us to separate spiritual life from real life. Tawakkul is not laziness. Dua does not cancel effort. Istighfar does not replace returning people's rights. Quran does not remove the need to fix your sleep, set boundaries, seek treatment, or ask for help when needed. Faith and practical responsibility are not enemies, they are companions. That is why the first step is not action. The first step is intention. Before you touch anything in the house, pause for 1 minute and say, "O Allah, I am doing this for your sake. I want a home with more sakina. I want a heart that worships you with more presence. I want this effort to become an act of devotion." Intention changes the taste of work. It turns ordinary effort into worship. A small action with sincerity can carry more light than a dramatic action done for image. Write 1 sentence somewhere visible if you need to. "O Allah, Make my home a place of tranquility and remembrance. Read it when you feel lazy. Read it when you feel overwhelmed. Read it when you feel like nothing will change. Then comes the first thing to remove, and it is simpler than people expect. Remove accumulated filth, spoiled food, hidden trash, and neglected dirt. It sounds basic, almost too basic, but never underestimate the emotional and spiritual effect of decay in your living space. A trash bag left too long, leftover food rotting in the fridge, dirty dishes hidden in bedrooms, corners no guest sees but you see every day. These things silently tell your brain, you are behind, you are failing, your life is messy. That message builds tension. It increases self-blame. It makes prayer feel heavier because your body and mind are already carrying low-level stress. Cleanliness is not only about image. It is about atmosphere. It is about dignity. It is about the body and soul breathing easier. The goal is not perfection. The goal is relief. Give yourself 10 minutes after Maghrib, not more, just 10. Take out the trash, wipe one surface, open the fridge, and throw away what has already gone bad. That is enough for one day. Once a week, do a slightly deeper reset. As you remove what has spoiled, say quietly, "O Allah, as I remove what is rotten from our food, remove what is rotten from our hearts." This is how small acts become doors to healing. Many homes do not become peaceful because the children suddenly became angels or because all problems vanished. They become calmer because one tired person in the house became less overwhelmed. And once one person becomes steadier, the emotional temperature of the entire home starts to change. The second thing to remove is any clear source of sin and spiritual agitation that keeps entering through your screens and devices. This does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is obvious sinful content. Sometimes it is accounts that awaken envy, desire, comparison, anger, or shamelessness. Sometimes it is videos that waste your nights until Fajr feels impossible. Sometimes it is group chats full of mockery, backbiting, and negativity. You cannot keep asking Allah to steady your heart while placing before your eyes something that steals that steadiness every single day. That is not only a weakness of Iman, it is also a lack of mercy toward yourself. Ramadan came to protect your heart, not to leave it exposed. The heart is shaped by what it repeatedly sees. The gaze leaves traces. Even the sins people call small can darken the inner world when repeated enough. Then one day you stand in prayer and wonder why khushu feels so distant. Start practically. Delete one app that consistently wastes you. Unfollow one account that steals your haya or fills you with comparison. Put the phone away 1 hour before Fajr or 1 hour before sleep. Replace noise with silence, Quran, or a short beneficial reminder. A young man may make sincere dua for provision and peace, but if every night before sleeping he feeds his heart content that awakens lust, anger, envy, or numbness, he should not be surprised when his chest feels heavy and Fajr feels difficult. The moment he closes one toxic door, he often starts feeling lighter. Not perfect, not transformed overnight, but lighter, and that matters. The third thing to remove is among the heaviest, even when it looks small from the outside. Remove from your home anything that does not rightfully belong to you. unreturned trusts, borrowed items forgotten for months, money taken lightly and never repaid, objects with doubtful source, gifts from forbidden relationships that keep the heart emotionally tied to what should have ended, someone else's belongings left in your possession while you keep postponing the conversation. The soul feels the weight of rights. Homes feel the weight of injustice. Not every hardship comes from this, of course, and no one should speak simplistically. But one of the mercies of Ramadan is that Allah reminds you to lighten your load. Return what is not yours. Resolve what you can. Purify what surrounds you. Write down 3 names if you need to. 1 person you owe. 1 person who entrusted you. 1 situation you keep avoiding because it feels uncomfortable. Start with 1 message, 1 apology, 1 returned item, 1 transfer. You do not need a dramatic speech. You only need honesty. A woman may keep making istighfar and still feel inner tightness until she remembers a small, unresolved conflict over money, inheritance, or a borrowed belonging. The moment she chooses to repair it, she feels herself breathe again. The problem may not disappear completely, but the heart often recognizes justice. Peace loves justice. Barakah loves honesty. And after removing those 3 things, there is a final piece that makes the whole transformation sustainable. Create 1 corner of tranquility in your home. Not a whole room, not a perfect aesthetic setup, just 1 corner. A clean prayer rug, a Mus'haf or Quran app, soft light, a simple scent, a place that says to your soul, this is where we return to Allah. Because if you remove what harms you, but do not create a place for goodness to settle, the old patterns return quickly. The soul needs somewhere to go. It used to run back to the phone, to the noise, to the emotional clutter. Now give it a place to return to Allah. After Maghrib, sit there for 1 minute. 1 minute only, if that is all you have. Say Alhamdulillah. Make 1 small dua. O Allah, expand my chest, steady my heart, and do not leave me to myself. This is where everything begins to connect. When you remove filth and hidden decay, you tell yourself that you are worthy of a clean environment and that your home is a place for worship, not suffocation. When you remove sources of sin from your screens, you tell your heart, I will protect you. When you return rights and let go of what is doubtful, you tell the heavens, I want the path between me and you to be cleaner. And when you create a corner of peace, you give your heart a real path back to stability. This is how tawakkul becomes a lived behavior and not just a word. This is how anxiety softens. This is how discipline grows. This is how prayer returns to the heart and not only to the schedule. The danger people should fear is not some theatrical, mysterious punishment. The real danger is subtler and more painful. It is to let Ramadan pass while your prayer remains heavy, your home remains tense, and your heart remains unheard inside your own chest. That is the harm we are trying to prevent. Gently, wisely, practically. If you are a mother, do not aim for a perfect house. Aim for a merciful house, a home that breathes, a home where trash is removed, food is not left to rot, and the emotional tone is softer. If you are a young person struggling with distraction, do not keep standing in front of the same door every night and then saying, "I cannot change." Close one door, just one. Respect yourself enough to close one door. If you are dealing with anxiety, know that seeking professional help is not weakness, and simple environmental changes can still help support your healing. If you are searching for work, remember that rizq is from Allah, but the doors of rizq often open wider for the one who lives with more discipline, cleaner boundaries, and fewer hidden burdens. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all this is that change does not need to arrive like lightning. It can arrive like a sequence of small, honest movements. A mother once feels like her home is choking her. She opens the fridge, throws away spoiled leftovers, removes a large trash bag, opens a window, and whispers, "My Lord, I do not want a perfect home. I want a peaceful heart." The next day, she spends 10 more minutes. 2 days later, she turns off the television channel that always disturbs the atmosphere. Then she remembers something she borrowed from a neighbor months ago and finally returns it. The house is still not perfect. The children are still children. The responsibilities are still there. But something begins to breathe again. She prays 2 rakas after Taraweeh, and for the first time in months, she feels present. A young man begins to notice that his heart is being eaten by fear of the future. He keeps making dua, but every night he loses 1 or 2 hours to content that distracts, inflames, and drains him. He deletes 2 apps. He leaves the phone outside the room. He gives 1 hour before Fajr back to Allah. He spends 30 focused minutes a day improving his CV, learning a skill, sending applications. After a few days, he does not claim sainthood. He simply says, "I feel calmer. I can focus. My dua feels more honest because now I am working too." That is how Allah opens doors. Not always through miracles that explode into your life, but often through tawfiq in the small steps you are finally willing to take. So begin tonight, but begin gently, 10 minutes only. Remove the trash. Throw away what has spoiled. Pray 2 light rakas and ask Allah to purify your home and heart. Tomorrow, clean 1 visible corner and make it your place of return. The day after, delete 1 harmful digital door. Then return 1 trust. Then try 1 hour without screens before Fajr or before sleep. Then gather the family for 5 calm minutes and agree on 1 rule that lowers tension in the home. Then review the 3 things again and choose 1 change to keep beyond Ramadan. If you fail one day, do not turn your stumble into an identity. Do not say, "This is who I am." Say, "I am a servant who falls and returns." And with Allah, that return is beloved. Because in the end, the goal is bigger than cleaning rooms or deleting apps or returning objects. The goal is to tell your soul, "I still want Allah." The goal is to make room for sakina in a life that became too crowded. The goal is to revive prayer until it becomes a refuge again. The goal is to protect your final days of Ramadan from being stolen by chaos, shame, and delay. And the most comforting truth of all is that Allah does not ask you to become someone else overnight. He asks for sincerity. He asks for direction. He asks that when you realize what is harming you, you do not keep embracing it while asking Him for healing. So before this night ends, Ask yourself one more question, and ask it honestly. What needs to leave my home, and what needs to leave my heart? Maybe it is clutter. Maybe it is a screen. Maybe it is a right you owe. Maybe it is resentment. Maybe it is an old habit. Maybe it is the sentence inside you that keeps whispering, "It is too late." It is not too late. Not while you can still say, "My Lord, guide me." Not while your chest still aches for Him. Not while your prayer rug still waits. Not while the nights of Ramadan still carry mercy. Start with one step, one honest step, and watch how Allah can bring life back into a heart that thought it was only surviving.